Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am one of your instructional co hosts, Dr. Scott Petrie. Welcome you back to the MOOC. This kicks off Module 5, our fifth week. And this week we have designed some activities that will enable you to practice with the ACOVA and PV Legs framework. This mini lecture is kind of a companion piece to a lecture I have embedded it in there about rubric validation, how to use rubrics to provide feedback. And I want to walk you through exactly how we have used this course to do just that. So, you may recall we watched the Kid President video together. Okay, here it is. Sorry about that. So we watched the Kid President video 3 times, and we evaluated him with the PV Legs rubric. So far, I've had 99 of you start this lesson, 51 of you complete all the questions in it, and these were the people who completed the SurveyMonkey PV Legs rubric. And what we're trying to go for is 70% exact agreement and 90% adjacent agreement. And we hit everything with the adjacent agreement, but we have a little bit more work to do to get exact agreement. So I'm going to kind of move us to that. On the next slide, we ask, how does the life in his voice make Kid President's performance better? And what everybody did, all 63 of you in the course, gave us your rationale for hooking the audience, for making you want to respond, for rising and falling his voice in a different range. And that information is very helpful to us because it tells us what in this rubric is working and what in the rubric is confusing. So I'm going to take a closer look on, this is Poise. And we got a 62% exact agreement on Poise. The definition that Eric gives us in Well Spoken is that Poise is appearing calm and confident. So here are the 4 levels we have: advanced, proficient, basic, and pre-basic. You appeared calm and confident. There were no distracting behaviors. You seemed calm and confident. Only 1 or 2 minor things were noticed, but they were not distracting to the listeners or viewers. You mostly seemed poised. A couple of major distracting behaviors bothered the listeners and viewers. Or level 1, you seemed wiggly and not at all poised. You had many distracting behaviors. So our obligation as teachers is to really teach our students what are these distracting behaviors, because the point of Poise is to identify calm and confident behavior. And then we introduce this distracting behavior factor that is confusing to students, and in this case it was certainly confusing to teachers. So what I'd like you to do is think about, how can we support this definition of appearing calm and confident? What items in your personal makeup or bearing help you look calm and confident? Then we have the same elements for voice, only voice seemed to be at 52% exact agreement, even more confusing to the audience. So voice is defined as making every word heard. Well Spoken, page 67. And here are the advanced, proficient, basic, and pre-basic levels. Your voice was just right, not too loud or too soft. Every word was heard. You didn't mumble or blur words together. You didn't have any strange vocal pattern. I think the problem here is we don't really identify what a strange vocal pattern is, and we don't sort of put them on a spectrum or a hierarchy. So if someone stumbles or mumbles a word, does that automatically bump them out? How many words do we need for them to mumble? Do we want to talk about mispronouncing words here under voice, because I see that happen a lot. But take a look at these categories for advanced, proficient, basic, and pre-basic. And at the end of this video, we're going to be asking you to really define your terms and what you think separates a level 1 from a level 3 or a level 2 from a level 4. Because remember, our goal is to reach 70% adjacent agreement. So lastly, the same one we had trouble with, the next one we had trouble with is eye contact. Eye contact, Eric defines as engaging each listener. That's well-spoken, page 75. So advanced, and I use the words camera and audience interchangeably, although I know that's bad because when you're videotaping someone's speech, they're really not looking at the camera at all. They're looking at the people in the classroom. So I use these words interchangeably. You should too in your rubrics, but we should remind students that when we talk about eye contact, we're really talking about with members of the audience, not necessarily the one camera, if there is one in your class. So proficient is you mostly looked at the camera / audience, you used your script well. Basic is you only occasionally looked at the audience, you read from the script over half the time. Pre-basic is you never looked at the camera or audience, you read the script to us. So this is 100% reading the script. This is 50% reading the script. Here we just say you used your script well. Is that 75%? Is that 80%? We don't know. Here you constantly looked at the audience. You treated them like they were individual people. You barely glanced at your script. That's a little bit more defined, but I can see where level 3 might be difficult and we might need to re-clarify these here. So, welcome to the wonderful, exciting world of rubric validation. This is a lot harder than it looks. This is where I almost had a nervous breakdown because when I was doing my dissertation, I tried to validate the instrument I was using and it failed 5 times. And on the 6th time, I finally validated it and could go ahead and conduct the research. But this is where a lot of educators get bogged down because they don't think the rubric really captures all the variables of their student speech delivery. It's maybe not as effective as a grading or feedback mechanism as you would like. And when you do these simple rubric validation studies, what you're doing is what's called a tuning protocol. Class, we want to use this. We're not sure if it's going to work, so we're going to watch 1 or 2 sample speeches and you're going to use it to grade. Then we're going to have a conversation and fix some of the problems. So this is a very fundamental piece of feedback, and because of the content standards we all need to cover, there's usually not enough time to do this. Hopefully what you'll learn this week is you can do this in a fast and efficient way. So welcome to Module 5. Again, we hope you enjoy practicing giving feedback using ACOVA and PV legs. Please remember to use the ACOVA and PV legs terminology consistently on the discussion boards. We're practicing applying new content here. So I hope you enjoy some of my student speeches. There's some videos, there's some text files. Have a great week. We look forward to seeing you on the discussion boards.